Hey guys, Mrs. Carpenter here, coming to you live from my basement. First, I wanted to say that we really miss you all, and we hope that this whole unknown thing gets over with and done before school's out, because we want to see your lovely faces again. We sure do miss you guys. So I'm going to start with where Mrs. Brace left off yesterday with understanding volume. But before I get started, I want to review a couple of vocab words with you because they're going to become pretty important as we move through today's lesson. First, the vocab word we're going to talk about is one dimension. One dimension would be just like a straight line, has no volume, has no height, just kind of has some length to it. Second is two-dimensional, which would be a piece of paper, something that's flat, that has no height to it. To find the surface area of that flat object, we would use length times width because there is nothing to fill it with. It can't be filled. Next would be our 3D shape. So if we would add height to a 2D shape, that would give us volume, which would be a 3D shape, and that would give us the height that we would need to find the volume of an object. It can hold something. So let's get started. So we're going to talk about the two methods of finding the volume of a rectangular prism, and we have Sparky here to help us do that. So method one would be counting units cubed. Now Sparky likes that. He says counting. The Sparkinator likes that kind of math because he thinks it's easy. Method two is the volume formula, and if you guys have been doing your morning math over the last couple of months of the school year when we were in school, you've seen this formula before. Length times width times height. The counting thingy still seems easier, Sparky says. Okay, but do me a favor, Sparky, and try to keep an open mind, Spartacus. Open rhymes with nopen, so Sparky's not really happy about that. Well, I want him to check this out. How many cubic units make this rectangular prism? Anybody got any ideas? Well, let me give you a helpful reminder, Sparky, because suddenly he looks at this and counts Sparkula seriously dislikes the counting method, because look at all those cubic units. Then let me give you a helpful reminder. Remember our volume, length times width times height? So we would just need to find the length, the width, and the height of this object. Remember, this is a big remember. Volume equals the total number of cubic units packed into a figure with no gaps. No gaps. Can't have any gaps. So let's look at this figure using length times width times height. So if I multiply the length by the width and the height, I can find the total number of cubic units without counting them. That is correct, Sparky. So you should have told us that before. I believe I did, like several times. I've got this. Volume is 7 times 3 times 3. So that's 63 cubic units. Bam. You got it. No counting, no mess. But how about this one, Sparky? This looks like a difficult one. How many cubic units make up this stair stepper? We would call this an irregular shape because it's not an identifiable shape. 1, 2, 3. So I count 24 cubic units. Does anybody have any ideas on how he got that? Remember, this is an irregular shape, so we can't take the length times the width times the height. Maybe we could look for groups. That's correct, Sir Count-a-Lot. Did anyone else calculate the answer mathematically? There are a total of 6 4-block sets. Did you guys see that? There's 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 6 times 4 is 24. I see that now. Cool, says Sparky. I still think he needs a bigger shirt. So can you calculate the number of cubic units in each right rectangular prism? So I'm going to give you a couple of minutes here, and I'm going to let you try and figure it out. I'm going to still record. I'm going to work them out myself so that I can walk you through it. Okay, I hope that was enough time for you. So now we're going to walk through each one real quick so that I can kind of map out how we're doing. So on number 1, this blue one right here, we've got 3, 2, and 2. So my length is 3, my width is 2, and my height is 2. So I would have 3 times 2, which is 6, and 6 times 2, which is 12. So the cubic units of number 1 is 12. I hope you got that one right. Now I want you to look right here how it's labeled. It's labeled units cubed. So we labeled it cubed because it's a 3-dimensional shape, not a 2-dimensional. So units cubed. Cubed is a 3. Looking at number 2, we've got 8, length of 8, width of 2, and height of 1. So we're basically finding the surface area of this object because there's no height to it. So we've got 8 times 2, which is 16, and 16 times 1, which is 16. Again, we have it labeled with units cubed. Remember to label your answers. That's very important. Number 3, we've got a length of 4, a width of 2, and a height of 6. So if we wrote that out, it would be 4 times 2 times 6. 4 times 2 is 8, and 8 times 6 is 48. So 48 units cubed. Who's got 3 for 3? All right. All right, moving on to number 4. That's a big one. So if we were to write it out, it would be a length of 8, a width of 4, and a height of 4. So that'd be 8 times 4, which is 32, and 32 times 4 is, drumroll please, 128 cubic units. Now this one's labeled a little bit different. You can label it cubic units, but when we get into having actual labels like inches, feet, yards, you definitely want to label it as this. And you could also label this as just a U and a 3 instead of writing out all units. This one, you can only label it when we're doing cubic units, so there's no other measurement. All right, number 5. This one's my favorite because I like the color scheme. I like the black and green. All right, so to write this one out, we've got 8 as my length, 3 as my width, and 2 as my height. So 8 times 3 is 24, and 24 times 2 is 48 units cubed. Who got 5 for 5? I did. All right, good job, guys. We're going to go on and try one more. Now, these are those irregular shapes that we were talking about, like the stair stepper. You can either count these, or I'm going to show you on the first one a little way to kind of divide it up to kind of help out with the counting. So let's see here. I'm going to get my pen, and I'm going to do red because that's all it let me do. So I'm going to look at this shape. Now I'm going to divide this shape right here and right here because that would give me 3 good shapes, you know, no gaps, no corners or anything like that. So I'm going to count these. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, and I've got 2 sets, so that's going to be 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I've got 2 sets, so that's going to be 8. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 sets, so that's going to be 8. So that means I have 3 groups of 8. So 8 times 3 is 24. 24 units cubed. All right, so I'm going to give you a little time. I don't want you to do number 5 yet. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to figure out 2, 3, and 4 and see what you get. All right, I hope that was enough time. If not, go ahead and stop where you're at, and we're going to kind of walk through these. Okay, so number 2, we're going to look for a dividing area, and I'm going to divide it right along this line right here because that gives me a good idea of here and here. They're the same shapes, just put 2 together. So let's count these. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we've got 2 sets of 5. So the volume of this would be 10. And this would be 10 because they're the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there's 2 sets of 5. So the volume of that irregular shape would be 20 units cubed. All right, going on to this one. This one's a little different. We're going to divide it right here, and we're going to take 1, 2, 3 times 4 because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, or we could do 6 times 2, which would be 12. And on this bottom row, we're just going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times 1, 2, 3. So 6 times 3 is 18. And 18 times, or 18 plus, we're just going to add these together because we don't need to multiply anything because they're not actual volumized shapes. If this was filled and this area was filled, then we could multiply. But now we're just going to add it. So that would be a volume of 30 units cubed. I hope everybody understands that we're just going to add these 2 together. We're not going to multiply, just like we multiplied this because there's 3 groups of 8. We multiplied this because there's 2 groups of 10, but these aren't the exact same numbers, so we're just going to add them. Moving on to number 4, we're going to count this top layer. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. So this has a surface area of 15. So we're going to write that up here. Now we need to find out our height. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to multiply that by 5 because there's 5 groups of 15. Or we could add 15 5 times. So when I multiply those, I would get 75 cubic units. Who's got 3 for 3? It's a little confusing. That's all right. We're going to revisit this from time to time, and I have a little practice that we're going to do before I get off of here. Sorry this lesson is so long. I just wanted to give you guys some time to work on what you have. All right, so number 5. Number 5 is a little tricky. We're going to really break this shape apart. So I'm going to break right here and here. Sorry, I'm using my mouse, so it's a little messy. So I'm going to calculate this bottom area because it's a solid shape. Do you guys see that? So my width is 4, my length is 8, and my height is 2. So I'm going to multiply that just using the regular formula. So that's going to give me 64. Okay, now I'm going to move up to this right here. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, and I've got 2 right here. So I've got a length of 4 and a width of 2. So that's going to give me 8. And I'm going to add 1, 2, 3, 4 to it. So that's going to give me, this shape right here would be 12. All right, and we're going to look at this back. So we've got a height of 2 and a length of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I counted these because I can't see the ones that are behind it. So that's going to give me a length of 8. So this shape right here is going to be 16. And we're going to add 6 to that because we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's going to give me an area of 22. Now, you're just going to add up 22, 12, and 16. Oh, wait, no, not 16. Sorry, 64. So you're going to add that up because that's going to give you your volume of this irregular shape. So that's going to give you 98. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 6 plus 1 is 7. 7 plus 2 is 9. So that's going to give me a volume of 98 units cubed. All right, so that's your lesson for today. Well, no, not quite yet. Hold on. We're going to do something real quick. We're going to do a couple Hey guys, so my video kind of cut short a little bit, but I wanted to do a couple of examples. First, I wanted to say hi, and I'm glad you guys get to see my pretty face. We miss you all very, very much, and we can't wait for this to be over, and we can be back in our classrooms with you and laughing and having a good time. So I wanted to do a couple of examples. I kind of already did them because I thought it was recording, so I'm just going to walk you through it real quick, okay? So just give me a minute. All right, let me flip the camera around and we will get this done. So here we did the volume of a regular shape. It's no gaps, it can be filled, it can hold content. So we've calculated the length is 6, the width is 2, and the height is 2. So we took 6 times 2 times 2. 6 times 2 is 12. And let me kind of focus this a little bit better. See if we can get that to look a little clearer. There we go. Maybe. Sorry. Hope this isn't making anybody sick. There we go. A little bit better. All right, so then We took 6 times 2, which was 12, 12 times 2, which is 24. So our answer was 24 units cubed. Okay, moving on to number 2. We calculated the length, which was 4, the width, which was 4, and the height, that was 4. So we took 4 times 4, that gave us 16, and 16 times 4 gave us 64. So our answer was 64 units cubed. Now this one took a little bit more time, and I wish I would have recorded it, but I didn't. So we calculated the length of this shape right here. We divided it here and here. We took 2 length, 2 width, and 2 height. So that was 2 times 2, which was 4, and we had the length left, or the width left. So that gave us 8. So this shape right here had a volume of 8. Here, I just counted because there's no volume. It's just the base. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So that gave us this volume of 6. Now our length was 3, our length was 3, our width was 2, and our height was 2. So I took 3 times 2 gave me 6, and 6 times 2 gave me 12. Sorry, this is a little blurry. I'm not sure what's going on. I don't know if it's the lighting or if I need to get it closer. I just really want you guys to be able, that's a little bit better. There we go. Okay. So I wanted to emphasize that because we already multiplied here and here to find volume, to find the total volume of this irregular figure, you have to add them together. You add them together. Do not multiply them again. Okay? So let's look what we've got. So we had 8 plus 6, which was 14, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Then we added our remaining 12, and that gave us 26. You guys see that? So our answer would be 26 units cubed. All right, that's all we're going to do for right now. I do believe you do have an assignment in Alex. If you have any questions on that, we do have office hours. I'm going to turn you guys up here so I can tell you about that and give you a little bit of info on that. So we do have office hours. They're posted on the district website. Every teacher has an hour that they're on or next to their computer throughout the day to give you any assistance that you may need. If you have any questions or anything based on the homework, that's where you could either message your teacher or you can jump on and see if there's a teacher online at that time. I'm not really sure what everybody else is using. If you want to contact me, I'm using Google Meets. My students know how to do that, and you can access that through Google. So just like getting into your Google Classroom, you would just go up to the little waffle at the top and hit Google Meets and send us a message. Our office hours are posted on the district website under the Adaptive Learning tab. So if you guys have any questions, you can either message your teacher on their messaging system, email us, or you can jump on and see if one of us are on. So it was really great to talk to you guys again, and I hope you enjoyed the lesson today. Bye. See you soon.